Okay, so I am recording this in February of 2025, where change has been the name of the game. Now, we've always known that a certain level of change and uncertainty has been a part of the world of work, whether that is due to restructuring, leadership changes, technology, the market, and yes, politics is now playing a new outsized role in the day-to-day lives of people's jobs like we've not seen before. There's uncertainty and fear and frustration, and I certainly get it. I have seen potential clients put me on hold, projects being pushed back until who knows when. And it is hard, it is messy, and it can be tough to see the upside. But I've been through so many of these corporate changes, I want to help you get through it. So today we're going to talk about navigating change and uncertainty. Hello, friends. I am Diana Burnell, career strategist and host of Corner Office Latinas, where I help ambitious professionals reach their goals. And I have had a long corporate career in human resources, leading teams, coaching executives. And I have gone through a ton of change, both having orchestrated it and been on the receiving end of it. So now I want to share my strategies on handling change and uncertainty with you. Before we jump in, let me mention that group coaching is coming back. Saturdays, virtual sessions. You can get all the information on our website, cornerofficelatinas.com. Check out the show notes. Follow me on LinkedIn. Let's jump in. Okay, in psychology or any type of change management training that you've been through, you might remember the change curve. Okay, in the beginning is the initial shock and denial, right? And then there's fear and the bargaining. And we can get to a really low point in depression for many of us, right? Because of all these very, very strong emotions. And when we're in that low part, the only way to get out of it is through action. Action is the one thing that's going to help us feel like we have a sense of control. Now, before we jump in, I do want to validate all these feelings because I know this is not easy. Emotions are normal, they're understandable. And look, if you are having some fear and anxiety over whatever's happening in your work world, it's because we've lost control or clarity on what is expected of us, right? Or what is happening at the organization. That's clearly understandable. And that frustration can also be a perceived lack of fairness, of lost opportunities. Things that we had been looking forward to might be gone. And this is also where that uncertainty can make it even harder. If there's a change, at least it's concrete, right? But if there's ambiguity and you're not quite sure what's happening, that can be even more stressful than the actual change itself. And put all of this together, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. So many changes, new expectations, not knowing what to prioritize. As the kids like to say, it's a lot. And it is a lot. And trust me, I learned early on about corporate changes because at my very first job, sure enough, there was a corporate buyout and I lost my job. We experienced a change. They closed the office. We thought that they were going to leave our office open. They did not. So everyone in our community lost their jobs. And, for me, I was a part-timer. It wasn't that big of a deal. But for everyone else, this was their full-time careers, right? And to make matters worse, we were going to have a little celebration on the last day. I was going to bring in a cake, and we were at least going to have a chance to say goodbye. But there was a massive thunder shower in Chicago. And if you know the Chicago weather, these thunder showers can be very, very intense. They were. The streets got flooded. We could not even leave our homes. We could not even go in to say goodbye to our friends. No closure. Welcome to corporate America, Diana. That was my first taste of change. All types of change are hard, right? The more unexpected it is, that can be tough. Even the uncertainty of not knowing when there's change. But we can do hard things. I want to encourage you to look to your past experience of making it through change, so that way you can apply it to the current change you're going through. So try to think of an unexpected change at work a few years ago. Maybe it was 1 year ago, maybe it was 5 years ago. Do you remember how you felt initially? And then how did those feelings evolve over time? What did you do? What steps did you take to get through it? Who was helpful? Who was not helpful? And what was the upside? Now, you might want to throw the phone and say there is no upside. And I don't want to sound naive, but if there's not an upside, we're going to need to create one. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 steps of managing change and uncertainty and leave you with 3 quick action items to keep you moving forward. Okay? So step number 1 is to focus on what you can control. Now, you might have had this in trainings for leadership development or management trainings, the difference between what you can control versus what you can influence. And it's important to distinguish between those 2 things right now. And then think about how can you redirect your energy to what you can control. So, are you searching for a new job? Okay. Are you networking? Have you revamped your profile and your resume and all the things? Are there new classes or certifications you can look into just to sort of get you thinking about these new skill sets? So, what can you do to make your situation better? There might be a lot going on over here, but for today, I am asking you to think about what you can do to improve your situation. Now, the second thing to consider is to be open. How flexible can we be? How can we adapt? It might be hard to see this as an opportunity. And this is one of many places where you're going to throw the phone at the wall because you think I'm crazy here. But being open is the way that you can increase your chance of finding something new. There might be an opportunity on the other side. So how can you expand the types of jobs that you pursue? What cities can you work in? How can you broaden your search to make sure you're seeing as many opportunities as possible? The third thing to consider when talking about change is to embrace resiliency. You're going to have an ebb and flow of emotions, right? So accept these emotions without judgment, but don't let them dictate your actions. You can acknowledge the feelings, very valid, but we have to stay constructive in our responses and in our actions. We have to move forward despite these feelings and emotions. And some days are going to be harder than others, for sure. I just met with someone last week, and she will probably be leaving her job in the coming months, maybe even weeks. It's quite the mess over where she is. And it is clear that she is still feeling really raw about this situation. It's not what she expected, and she was so surprised by all these problems that they're having. And those feelings are definitely okay. She needs to process them and then make time to put together an action plan, which I'm helping her do. But the resiliency is about holding both feelings at the same time. The raw emotions, the frustrations, the anxiety with some productive activity, with some positive outlook. Now, the fourth thing to think about is support and community. This is the time to lean on former coworkers, friends, and family for all types of input and guidance. And don't forget, different people are going to help us with different things. Some are just there to listen and let you vent. Others are going to have great ideas and leads. And some folks have been getting together online. They're starting Zooms or happy hours. See if there is a group of people in your community getting together. And maybe it's time for therapy to help you get through it. Maybe if you've been through therapy before, maybe it's time to pick up the phone and check in. You know, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm only 15 minutes away from the fires. And while we had to evacuate, we are fine. It was a lot. The first few weeks in January were pretty much hell in Los Angeles. So I called my old therapist who I hadn't talked to since last year. She made time for me. She helped me get grounded. And that's just what I needed at the time. Now, the fifth thing to think about, and please don't throw the phone against the wall, is to celebrate the small wins. You can find them. Maybe you reconnected with an old coworker that you really liked and you had lost touch with. Maybe you don't have to commute anymore. Maybe this is the time to do something a little bit different that you had thought about. And now, why not? So maybe you have one great phone call this week. Maybe there's just one lead. Whatever made you smile this week, something that made you feel relieved, right? We've got to try and celebrate some of these moments, no matter how small, to build our resiliency. So as promised, I want to give you 3 quick steps to help you move forward, okay? The first thing is a short-term action plan. Start where you are, and it's going to shift. It's going to look different. But if you are out of a job quite unexpectedly, you got to put together some type of short-term action plan to get you where you need to go. Is it updating your resume? Is it talking to certain people? Start applying for a couple of jobs just to see what's out there. And try and do one thing a day, Monday through Friday. Give yourself the weekend off. Number 2, set up support and community. And guess what? If it's not out there, start it. Again, start a Zoom call, get some folks together for coffee. And then the third thing is to really think through what's one opportunity this change might present. Could there be an upside? I know it's hard to think that way right now, but if you can at least find one thing, that will help get you going. This is the progress. We want to be, again, as proactive and positive as we can be, knowing that it's a really tough time. So it might be tough right now, but eventually with the right support system and taking some steps every day, you can get through it. Oh, and self-care, that's kind of like a given. This is definitely the time to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Take a walk, watch some movies, do whatever it is you need to do for the self-care. So I guess that's 4 steps. Let me know what else would be helpful. What other topics you want to hear? Find me on LinkedIn. There's more information about individual coaching, group coaching. Everything is on the website at cornerofficelatinas.com. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. For more, visit cornerofficelatinas.com, where we give you the framework, inspiration, and support you need to reach and thrive in the corner office. We have some free downloads on the website, where you can also sign up for our e-news, so we can keep you posted on workshops and events coming up that you will not want to miss. That's cornerofficelatinas.com. See you next week.